Hi, my name is Ian Spencer and I used to work for Honeywell back in the early 1970s, and mini computers were quite a big thing with Honeywell. They were quite famous for their Series 16 as it was called, which were basically the DDP-516 and the H-316. But they wanted to compete with DEC, the Digital Equipment Corporation's PDP-8, which was a 12-bit machine. So in 1968 they decided to build this, the Honeywell H-112. It's a 12-bit computer, just like the PDP-8, but it was not very successful. It was much too late to market, and so by 1970 they'd virtually given up trying to sell this machine. And this particular model ended up in a pile of junk, which I managed to rescue for the princely sum of £50. It was in a bit of a state, but since then I restored it, and in the early 1970s and up to 1980 I used it as a home computer together with a telex machine to print, and a keyboard and a paper tape reader. Now if we look at this machine, you can see it's very unlike a computer that you're used to today. It's got a lot of lights along the top, which were binary code, which is arithmetic not with 10 as a base, but with 2. And you could set all the bits in these lights, which are called register lights, on these buttons, and you had lots more controls down here to start this machine running. And so it was quite a nice machine for the time. It was much smaller than you would normally expect. These machines were normally sort of great big cabinets, and so to have one that fitted on a tabletop was quite unusual in 1968. What's inside this machine is, over this side, 2 identical memory stacks. Each one of these contains 4 killer words of memory. So we're not talking about megabytes or gigabytes or terabytes, we're talking about kilobytes. It was that small. So each one was just 4 kilobytes of memory, and it wasn't the sort of memory that you know today in your computers, which you plug in, but we should be able to unplug one, yes. Inside here are large numbers of ferrite cores. They're tiny little circles of ferrite, which you had to energize with voltages, and they would remember in the same way as a modern memory, but they had a big advantage over modern memory. When you switch this machine off, the ferrite cores kept everything in there. So all the data, all the programs, they stayed in the memory even when the machine was switched off, which a modern computer can't do. Put that back in. And on the sides here you see lots of black things. These are called micropacks. If we pull one out and we look at it, you can see that on the micropack there are a number of components and tiny little chips. These were really the first types of integrated circuit, which were very, very primitive compared to what we see today. And on here you see these integrated circuits used to control this memory. And then there's a large section here of these packs which tells you that this is the main brain of the computer. This is the central processing unit, which does all the hard work. And that then talks over this cable to this logic at the back. And this is not the computer brain, this is in fact an interface which helps the computer talk through this cable to a teleprinter or to a teletype device so that you can print things out and input things from a keyboard. And then over here is another interface which I built and designed myself, which allowed this machine to be connected through cables like this one to cassette recorders, so that when I used it as a home computer I could record my programs and my data onto cassettes and then reload them. And the final part of this computer is at the back, a big box, which is quite simply the power supply.